Chris here at TT120. Well, it's here. Yeah. Free with the this month's Hornby magazine. Neat little trick there from Hornby, I think. Right, well, let's have a little look, see. Oh, you want a review, do you? All right then, here we go. Right, let's start with the sets. Now, we've seen in the announcement that we've got the new set, which is the TT104M and the TXSM. So the one with and one without digital sound, but they're both obviously capable of digital sound. Right, so that's all very nice. Now there's a little bit of speculation about these because there are some photos where the coaches have got different numbers, but then on the listings, they've got the same numbers as the individual items that are listed, for Mark III coaches, that is. So let's see. I mean, honestly, I think that if Hornby don't renumber these locos, I think they've missed the trick. But that's up to them, obviously. I think the collectors would buy these sets if they had a separate set of numbers to the individual locos, obviously. I mean, to the newcomers coming to it, they won't care, that makes no difference. But to the collectors, it's a big difference. So I certainly think that a little bit of renumbering wouldn't go amiss. There you go. Now also let's look at the Scotsman and the Easterner have survived. Now there was a lot of conversation about both of them being dropped, and because there was reference in the magazines before about these sort of being combined to having an A4 with Pullmans to sort of combine the two sets. Now that may be something that happens again in the future, but right now they've survived in the catalogue, which is a good thing, I think, because they've been very popular. One thing that has been lost in the future, as far as this catalogue is concerned, is TT1003M, the British Pullman electric train set, which we never really got, because it says Era 3. We never really got our heads around what that was going to be. There was a lot of speculation about whether or not that was going to be an LMS job, which would have been nice. But that's not there. So maybe that number is going to be put to one side for a yet unannounced train set. I've got a theory about that, and we'll come back to that in a minute, okay? So remember that there's this missing, we've got a code, TT1003M, currently isn't allocated to anything. Used to be allocated to the British Pullman electric train set, but it's fallen off the catalogue. So I'm wondering if there's something lined up for that in the future, but I'll come back to that. Also that's been dropped off is there's no future reference to the mainline express train set Era 7, which we were all assuming was, or hoping might be the 50 with coaches, with intercity coaches or something like that, Mark IIFs or something like that, but or Mark IIEs. But that also has gone. So there's two future sets referenced before the previous two catalogues that have now disappeared. So perhaps just Hornby just fed up with us doing all the speculating. Just let's get them out of the way, and then we'll decide what we want in the future. And who could blame them? Right, let's move on to the actual locos themselves, and let's see what has survived and what hasn't survived. Right, well, obviously you've all heard about the J50 in its three guises, the L and the R, and the new and the old BR logos. What's interesting to see is that they've, even in the catalogue, they've got the Era 4 and the Era 5 logos mixed up. So they've still got the pictures. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit daft, isn't it? You'd think someone proofread any of this, but anyway, there you go, it's gone. Right, everything else has survived, so we've still got If you include the sets, you've still got 4 different types of A1, A3s, because remember, Blink Bonnie and Flying Scotsman have varying differences. The Flying Scotsman is the oldest version, very much like the first NER version. And then you've got, and you've still got the 4 A4s. We're all very happy with that. But looking to the future of locos, has anything really changed there? Well, they've, let's see, turn the page over. Now, future of locos, well, everything still stays the same. We've still got the 9F listed, 3 versions of the 9F. We've still got 3 versions of the Castle class. There will be a lot of people out there saying they couldn't come soon enough, and they were hoping they would become that they would be presented in this catalogue as something that's with a code, etc., etc. But at least they haven't fallen off the page. And of course, also you've got the BR Britannia, the LMS BR Black 5, the J94, the JWR class, the Class 57, or 5700 Pannier, and much more. That's what they used to say. Well, what does the new catalogue say? Let me just turn to page 25. Yeah, that's exactly the same piece of graphic. They've just, it's the same information. So the future of Steam doesn't look any different, okay? But as they've already proven with the fact that the J50 got slotted in, who's to say that this situation may not change? The catalogue isn't. Okay. Right, let's move on to the diesel electrics. Now, okay, so we all know there's the new, but it's been out a little while now, the earlier BR Green 08. But funny enough, in the catalogue, the blue one's dropped off the page. We don't have the blue one in the catalogue anymore. Now, that was super popular. That sold like hotcakes. And I reckon that it's actually more popular than the DB and the GBRf put together. So, what's happening there? Why would you drop off one of your most popular? Then let's have a little think. What were we talking about a short while ago? About the TT003M set that doesn't have anything, that's not on the catalogue anymore? Well, I'm wondering if Hornby are listening and saying, do you know what? We need to have a little think about producing a smaller set, a smaller, cheaper set with an 08 in, and a blue 08 in that small set. That's got to be a winner. Again, it's going to be one of the more popular 08s to choose from. I know we already wanted the green one, and now we've got the green one, but still everyone really loves the blue 08, the tops 08. So my crystal ball prediction, my Mystic Meg prediction is, I reckon there's going to be a small set with either radius 1 or radius 2, and the 08 and some small wagons at a cheaper price bracket. Why haven't they released it now? Why haven't they done anything about it now? Because the 6-pins aren't ready. The 6-pin decoders still aren't ready. And I bet you they want to do whatever they send out. They're going to want to send out the HM7000 ready sets. That's the whole drive behind all of this, isn't it, after all? So I wonder whether they're going to see how popular the J50s are, and at some point make a decision. Do they make a J50 set, or do they make an 08 set, or do they do both sets? Because you know what, they'd be well received. Right, moving forward. Okay, so the 50s. Now we all know the 50s, they're lovely. We're all really looking forward to them. Everyone's so excited about the 50s. But hold on a second. Hang on. What happened to TT120M? Defiance. Again, dropped. Now, is that because it hasn't been pre-ordered as much. Because let's face it, it's more of a that was more of a what do you call it? It's in the it's an old loco in a modern GBRf livery. Maybe it didn't sell very well. Who knows? Unless that's going to become part of a set. Looking back at my other theory. But I'm wondering whether they just dropped it because it hasn't been pre-ordered as much as the others, because it's that weird combo of a much older loco from the 70s, but dressed up as in the GBRF logo. Who knows? Who knows? Moving on, all the 66s have survived, so nothing's been chopped out of there. So I'm guessing they're all very popular and have all had lots of pre-orders. Now and then switching over to the Class 43s, nothing changes there. We've got the Intercity, we've got the 125, we've got the Great Western Railway version. They're obviously very popular. No need to change. I was wondering whether in the new catalogue we would get a new livery, but maybe that's something we're going to have to be patient for and wait till next year. Bearing in mind we lost a livery, we were all expecting, I certainly was expecting, an LNER or an East Coast mainland version, whether that's the red LNER or the silvery grey East Coast, because that had been announced as a set, which has obviously been usurped now by the blue and yellow original Intercity 125, which again is a commercial decision that I can comprehend and understand. It's a very popular loco, but as an Easterner from London and from Yorkshire, I'm obviously disappointed, but I'll get over it. There's the future. Who knows what might come? Right. So, talking of the future, what's happening for the future diesel electrics? Well, the future page again stays exactly the same, except that I've noticed the Class 60 and what else? There was some of the kind of like almost, if we would consider how they've printed this in some sort of priority, it does look like some of them have dropped down the priority list, and it looks like possibly the 31 and 37 have stayed at priority. We know the 37 is probably going to be the next one that actually appears because we've been seeing so much about it. But the 47, 16s, the 47 and 60 have dropped off that kind of priority listing, and they've dropped down to that kind of something in the future little line of text, which is along there with the Hitachi Class 800, which I really wanted that Hitachi Class 800, but never mind, we'll have to wait. Right, next. Coaches. Right, well, we've all seen and heard about the two new Pullmans. Now that's still TT4003 as a code, but they've dropped the TT4003 and A and B, and they've replaced them with C and D. So it's the same carriage, it's just got a different number and name. And that I think makes perfect sense. There's so many of these around, they'd be silly not to do this simple graphic change, because they're going to get sold. They're going to get sold. People are going to buy them, and who knows? They may go back to some of those other ones, but there's a lot of them out there now. People are trading them. I have no problem with the fact that they've brought 2 new ones out and they've dropped 3 old ones. There'll be some people, but there are still 3 in the set as well. So, and those 3 in the set have now become lit. So it's not such a big deal, is it really? But all the 57s have stayed. and the 50-foot, 57-foot, and the 50-foot brakes have all stayed in both the BR and I think the LMS stuff. Is it? Yeah, the LMS and the BR. They all seem to have survived. No one seems to have been chopped there unless I've missed that. But no, I think they're all there still. The first real other change I can notice, if I'm reading the catalogue correctly, is they look like they've binned off 4, 0, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, which are basically all the Mark IIes. So that's the earlier Mark IIes. So because obviously no one's buying them, you know, there's nothing to pull them at the moment. So although I thought they might have kept the original blue and grey 2Es, I thought they would have survived. I've ordered those, so I'm hoping that they survive, but they've dropped off the catalogue. I really don't see the point of the Intercity 2Es, so I'm not surprised that they've fallen off the catalogue. Something else I've noticed that they've done, the two Fs survived? Yeah, so the 2Fs have all survived, which is cool. And the 2Fs in the tourist, in the Intercity logos survived. I guess they probably thought, why are we duplicating this? You know, but I personally would have kept the 2Es, the Mark IIes in the blue and grey, and I would have kept the Mark IIFs in the Intercity. But I presume there must be a moulding difference, and they've decided to stick with one moulding. But there you go. Hope that makes sense. To the people who know these, it does. A little also note is that the TT4020 to 22, they had them originally listed as Era 7, and of course they're not Era 7, they're Era 8, and they've now rectified that printing mistake. So that's a good thing. Someone's listening somewhere. Obviously all the Mark IIIs have survived. There's some big holes in the numbers when you look at some of these. Like, you know, if you go, the Great Western stuff is you've got a bunch of 4031s, then you've got a bunch of 40, then you've got 40, 41, 42. So for the buffet car and the first class and the guard. But the standards, it almost looks like there's space for a whole bunch more of different Mark IIIs, but who knows? I'm trying to guess what their numbering system's about. It doesn't look like for the future of the coaches that there's any difference at all. The Eleanor Gresleys are still in the listing. The Great Western and BR Colic coaches are still in the listing, and the BR Mark Ones in that the BR, the parcel and the second class coach are still there. So, but nothing new, no more ideas for the future amongst those. Right, wagons. What do we got with the wagons? Well, what do we got for the wagons? Well, obviously we know that the Mobile and the Carless, they've dropped off because they sold out. Numerous batches that are sold out. I'm guessing the Fisons didn't sell out because that's still survived in the catalogue. So TT6010 has survived in the catalogue. The other two, 6008 and 6009, have been replaced by 6028 and 6029, which is the BP, which had been listed before the BP in the very, very first rendition of the catalogue. And of course the Benzol, which are great additions. I'm hoping a different manufacturer or someone's looked at the actual block boxes, because the previous three, although beautiful, were a bit of a dog's dinner when it comes to running. I'm hoping these have been improved. but I haven't bought some of these for a while, so maybe they've already improved them. Other new things, obviously the containers. Now these are which is 6025 to 6027. These are the handsome IFA wagon with the 45-foot containers, not inch. They're basically an Arnold kit, aren't they? They're an Arnold model. And here are the Arnold versions. They're sold out. Hopefully they're going to remake those as well, because having all 6 of these lined up would make a fantastic train, wouldn't they? I get this move. Some people might think it's a bit of a cheat. I don't care. It might introduce some of the Arnold customers to the Hornby TT120 range, and it also might help some of the TT120 guys have a look at the Arnold stuff. From sales side of things, I think it makes sense, and it is a good way of putting something completely different into the range very quickly, or more quickly, should I say. Of course, all the vent wagons have survived. All the 7 planks have survived. They're excellent models. The brake vans have survived. The hoppers have survived. The TTA tank wagons have survived. But hang on, what's happened to the mineral wagons? We've got TT 6015, the red BR mineral wagon, that survived. But the earlier Era 4 grey mineral wagon, that's dropped off the catalogue. And the Glen Hafford mineral wagon Era 6, that's dropped off. Now the Era 6 one, that dropping off, that's odd. Unless you wanted to make a small set with an Era 608 and you wanted some Era 6 wagons to go with it. Like you're thinking, Peachy. I might be completely wrong. I probably am completely wrong. Other changes. Well, the future, it's pretty much the same as the last catalogue, the last rendition of the catalogue, except, of course, we seem to have lost the VEA wagons. They've fallen off the cliff. So they didn't stand a chance, did they? Poor things. Right, the rest of the catalogue, it's all nice stuff. We've got, they've got a reference to the sound profiles that they now do, so you can, and some upcoming sound profiles. And then of course there's the signals which we saw, which are lovely, and the level crossing. Some really nice information about track plans. This is new for the catalogue, and this I think some people will find very helpful. This information isn't a secret. It has been around. It's not been so easily accessible. So I think this part in the catalogue, and particularly showing you how to use the track mat extension pods and all these, and the various layout ideas for people, I think these will be really well received. Some people like to be told what how this works. Other people like to do completely their own thing. So I think this is a good bonus. We've got more lovely buildings coming through, particularly quite like that church. But anyway, and the pub, the Bush Inn, and there's a little reference now to what Oxford do with their reference numbers as well. And then it's toy trees and gravel. Now, and then one last little bit at the back about the Hornby TT120 Digital Club, which basically tells you that you get a free magazine and access to the train terminal blog, but I don't think this now gives you points anymore. You have to be part of the point system. So I guess the TT120 Club thing did its job. I wonder whether or not we'll see anything else happening with it. They reference exclusive competitions, but they haven't spoken about whether or not we're going to get any exclusive wagons or any of that kind of information like you do with the Hornby Club. So that's kind of It's very much watered down. Is it important? I'm not so sure. The original club thing got everyone on board, got everyone buying, using the discount. You do now get good points with the normal Hornby point system. So, and it is nice to have that access to those magazines, even if they are only online. But who knows what happens in the future of the TT120 Club? I guess it all depends on the pickup of this, whether or not we keep telling Hornby we want more from them. We keep pushing that. Who knows? Who knows? Well, that's the catalogue. I know there are people out there who are expecting more. I know there are people out there who will be disappointed that all their references, all their comments on social media about what locos and wagons they want haven't appeared in this catalogue. But that doesn't mean they won't appear. It just means that Hornby are taking a steady go with it, I guess. What happens in the future? I don't know. I think really what's important is how this current end of year, which has got to be in a few days' time, how that pans out. Then we might see something. When we see those numbers, maybe then they'll turn around and go, nah, told you so, and here's some shinies for you, hurrah! But who knows? Talking about the future and about what might be coming, quick shout out to Greg at Mac Trains, because he gave me a bit of a heads up today whilst I was actually making this video, that Accurascale have introduced into their range a TT120 product. Now, it's a little bit of a Mickey take because they've called it the Accurascale Research Team 3-figure pack in TT 1/120th scale. Now, these look like the kind of like almost as if that sort of Hornby guys with their measuring sticks and stuff, like they're measuring up locos to build them into TT120. Now, these are super detailed characters, obviously made by Model U, because it's listed as they're being made by Model U. So is this Accurascale saying, okay, our research team we are looking at making some locos, or is it Accurascale saying that we want to use this as a research tool to see how many people want to buy from us? Okay, now I have absolutely no use for these 3 figures anywhere in anything I'm doing, except for the price of them, which is £15 something. That would basically get me a few pints and a couple of packets of crisps at my local pub. So I'm going to give up this Friday a couple of pints and a couple of packets of crisps, and I'm buying these because I want the Accurascale to say, okay, there's some people out there who are serious about buying TT120, even if it means buying these little joke items. Okay, I'm going to suggest we all do that if we can afford it. If you want to do it, I gain nothing from pushing you towards a Accurascale, except for the fact that it's got to be good for our scale. It must be. I can't see any other thing. Right, well, that's about it. Well, what do you think? There's no new information when it comes to what's new, because obviously we've had that already with the announcement, the April announcement. But I do find the emissions to be quite interesting. I wonder whether or not is that because Hornby have only got a certain amount of production slots over in China, and they have to be selective. There's a couple of things there that maybe they feel there's already enough in the market, like the previous 12-ton tankers. I would have thought the green Fison would have been dropped off but just left on the website, but you know. And I understand the Mark IIe, Mark IIF because there was just maybe just a bit too much, particularly for new people to the scale, who can't quite work out what some of those things should be hauled by. It doesn't really help that initially some of the labelling wasn't quite exactly right. Perhaps a bit more explanation about some of where those, what locos would pull those would be helpful. A bit like, you know, what you used to have on Hattons with those train information things, which I know you can still get access to via Rouse of Sheffield now. There you go. Just a little amendment to a couple of things. The Accurascale stuff that I referenced at the end of that video there. It's this little set of figures, which obviously are from Model U, and you could always get these from Model U. Actually, these have been available for some time. So what's Accurascale doing? Are they testing the water? Come on, Accurascale, dive in. It's lovely. Just try to be as positive as possible about this stuff, really. Anyway, hope you enjoyed yourself. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Come on, all you watchers. I know you're out there. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free to subscribe, and it really helps with the algorithms. It really helps with getting out there the fact that we're all so positive about TT120. Everything that's new is down below with affiliate links. Again, that really does help the channel. And there'll be the usual couple of videos here and here at the end of the little skit. Okay, take care, see you soon, bye-bye.
You'll find him surrounded by all his luggage in a first-class compartment. Don't you be afraid. Just slip the window down and say, Peachy's gone south for the week.
Peachy's gone south for the week?
Yes, and he'll tumble. Well, I'll be getting off now before we reach the station.